Chookas! Hello, my name is James.
My name is Neil.
And we are the Chookas Podcast, and we have today the very wonderful Amelia Conway.
Hi guys, thanks for that lovely harmonic welcome.
Yes.
Beautiful.
Back on again. From,
Yes.
We had her, sorry, a bit closer. Yeah, we had her on 2.5 year and a half ago.
Yeah, wow, was it that long?
Yep.
Oh my gosh.
A year ago.
Yeah, and Amelia is, among other things, is an actor and a writer, and also director from the from your
Roller Coaster Testers.
web
Yep.
series, and you're also, I mean, what would you call your position in this kind of Star Now replacement website?
Yeah, that's an interesting thing. I don't know what you'd call the role. I mean, I guess my husband and I are trying to develop a new platform for people in Australia to use. So as you guys know, and I'm sure some of the people listening know, Star Now kind of shat itself, basically.
Well, let's talk about that, because
Yeah.
I haven't used Star Now in a while, but I used to use it quite a lot to get in touch with new actors, and it's something that I would recommend to new actors. Is like, hey, you know, it's a good kind of community.
Yeah.
Was a good community
Was.
kind of based service that was quite inexpensive,
Yeah.
and you could put your profile up and get found. And even I keep on saying, I don't know whether it's been deleted now, but Dacre Montgomery's profile was still on Star Now years after he became famous and all this kind of other stuff. So
Yeah.
what happened with Star Now?
I mean, I'll tell you what I know. Obviously, I'm not an expert or anything.
Well,
but
we expect you to be.
Yeah, okay, all right. But from my understanding, from I had like a discussion with the CMO and the vice president. Well, I say discussion, but it was via email. Anyway, what it looks like is that, so Backstage bought Star Now, and basically what they've done is they've just used their existing back-end template of what Backstage is, and they pretty much just replicated that and whacked a Star Now logo on it, and they're like, this is Star Now. So they just completely got rid of whatever the old platform was.
Wow.
They did move the data across, but it's just basically Backstage, but it's got a Star Now sticker on it.
Wow.
So what the implications for that is like, if you just act every now and then and it's not really your career, probably not a big deal for you. But if you're like myself and you guys and many others who kind of rely on it to get freelance work, the problem is it no longer has the talent ranking system that it used to have. So, you know, depending on how many jobs you'd done, how long you'd been on there, how hard you'd been working, how often people had looked at your page, your profile would get, you know, become more prominent. And personally, I think that's fair enough. Like, you'd probably want to see actors with experience and skill first than, you know, someone who's like just started and maybe only has a selfie. And there's nothing wrong with that. But I think if you're having a talent website, you probably want to have your, you know, more experienced talent towards the front.
Yeah.
So anyway, on the Backstage Now, when you go to view talent, it literally just shows you like a randomized selection of talent.
Wow. Not even like alphabetical or?
No,
Really?
not even. So, you know, so it's for me in particular, it's been a huge loss because I was on that site for 12 years. I had a prominent profile. People used to, you know, at least take a look at me. I'd get a chance to audition. It never meant I would get a job. It just meant at least I'd get a shot. But now, you know, what I find really upsetting is if I search like blonde actresses in Sydney, like I can't even find my picture in the talent results. So it's had big implications for me, but it's not just that. It's like things like people's recommendations are gone. All the photos that we spent time like curating and laying out our profiles and making them look good, putting in our experiences, like our CVs, all that stuff is gone. So people are pissed. Like, can you remember what you did like last year? Like, no, you can't. Like, that's why you write it down. And anyway, so
The blur from last year.
yeah, literally. So we were hoping, or John and I are working on a site. It's currently, the name's a working title. At the moment it's called My Actor Life, but obviously it's going to be for all sorts of creatives. And basically,
John is the hubby, by the way.
Jonathan is my husband. Yeah.
John's the hubby.
Yeah. And he has an IT background, so this is his thing. But yeah, it's basically going to be very similar to what Star Now was, keeping that simplicity, keeping, you know, rewarding those who work a lot and book jobs. So keeping that talent ranking system in place, and obviously keeping it very affordable as well, which is one of the things we all liked about Star Now. It was really affordable.
Right, yeah.
But, you know, it is a lot of work, and obviously it's not John. John has a full-time job. So, you know, bless his heart, he works on it when he can, and he's just recently been quite sick. He had kidney stones, and we spent the weekend in the ER last weekend.
Ugh.
Yeah, it was really horrible.
Yeah, she's supposed to be on last weekend. And,
Yeah.
That's right. So to answer your question, we are working on it. It's taking some time, but it's going to be for Australia only. I know Star Now was worldwide, but we want to focus on what we know, and I understand like the Australian sort of, the way it works, and I wouldn't want to assume that I know how it works in the UK or America or whatever. So, and why shouldn't Australian creatives have a platform just for them? Like I know there's the right fit, but I feel like it's quite expensive. You pay for your monthly membership, and they take a cut of your commission too. So
Really, they take a cut of your commission?
Yeah. Sorry, they take a cut for commission. Yeah,
cut for commission.
So they take, I think it's like 10% or something like that.
That's like an agent.
Well, yeah, basically. It's an agent.
That's not
and then you
cool.
all have the monthly membership. And look, there are some good jobs on there, not going to lie. I don't know if you guys are on the right fit.
No. I hadn't heard of it until you just mentioned it.
Yeah, it's more like, I think it has a more lean towards modelling.
Oh, okay.
But it does have a few acting jobs and stuff on there as well. But I think there's definitely space there for something new.
Yeah.
Like something that's really like grassroots supported and is about like supporting creatives just going out and doing what we love. And I don't want to I'm not looking to like make profits off of people. I just want to connect them to the people so that you guys can go out and do jobs. That's what I want to do.
Yeah.
So I'm still very passionate about it. It's just, I've just been a little bit distracted. So I haven't been able to focus on building that platform in the last few weeks. Yeah.
I haven't, I was going to say that I haven't used Star Now in a while, right? But Natasha, my partner, when she and her production company were putting on a play, most of them were from Star Now, and I to be honest, I hadn't really used it for a while. So when that happened to you, I'm horrible with websites anyway, and computers and all that kind of stuff. So I always mess up. I always get Tash to do all my stuff for me. I'm like,
lucky man.
Like she has an extra job, like she reads through my things sometimes. Like, can you dissect this for me? But it's one of those things I had to go look through it and say, hey, has this actually changed? And it has changed a lot. And I can see it's a bit of a problem, for a lot of the people. And I spoke to some other actors and stuff, and same thing with them as well, having issues with that. So, because I also saw you do a lot of work last year. Last year, you were really grinding through, and you must have used a lot of Star Now, right?
I did, yeah. Star Now definitely, I would say, was like my bread and butter. You could pick up a little corporate gig, a little modeling job, a little presenting thing, and it was just churning along nicely. I was a working actor, and I wasn't say I was making enough to like cover my mortgage, but I was making enough, to make a contribution to my family finances. And then, definitely since they changed Star Now, I've taken a big hit in terms of the amount of work, the quality of work, the payment of I would get for work. So that's that. Look, there's two ways to go. At first, I was like in despair. I'm not going to lie. I cried, which sounds so pathetic. I cried.
No, that's your livelihood.
Yeah, I felt like a deep loss. And I was like, okay, well, you have two ways to go here. You can either go into like the victim mindset and be like, oh, it's against me and my profile. Blah. Or you go, okay, well, I'll make a new platform and I'll hustle even harder. I'll go through my other networks, that I know of to get work. And so I tried to see it as a challenge to be better instead of like, leaning on the Star Now, like, oh, well, they'll just find me on Star Now, whatever. It's like, no, now you need to step it up. Now you need to go, you need to, try other channels or whatever. So that's what I'm trying to focus on now.
Yeah, wow. I know that I was talking to a bunch of animators at UTS, and one of their questions was, how do we find actors? And the first thing I wanted to say was Star Now, because that would have been perfect for what they needed. They're still learning. They're UTS, so they're not professional yet. They don't have any money to pay anybody. They can give you food, or pay for maybe travel, but that's the kind of actors they were looking for, and that's the kind of actors and Star Now was perfect for that. So I completely agree. I definitely think that there is a gap in the market for this kind of thing that nobody else is filling right now.
Yeah, and exactly. That's just, it's just it is a lot of work to put it together, and we don't want to launch something that's like half baked.
No,
and then people are like, oh, this is even worse than Star Now. We want to launch it, and people go, oh, thank God, this is just what we needed. So if it takes a bit of time, it'll have to take that time.
Yeah, I just want to talk one quick topic is that with the work that you've done last year and stuff, and with the Star Now profile issues and whatnot. I want to know how you sort of strategize using Star now, and then using your getting work from your agent, and how you get work through referrals, because you've done a lot.
Yeah.
And I just want to know, how do you do that? How do you manage that?
Yeah. No, it is a conscious sort of strategy, if you want to call it.
Yeah.
So I specifically looked for an agent who would allow me to freelance. That was like a deal breaker for me. I said, I'm happy to be on your books, but I will be using Star Now. I will be using The Right Fit. I will be doing my own stuff. If that's not okay with you, let me know. So I shopped around a few agents till I found one who was like, no, I'm okay with you doing that. But obviously if I offer you work, like prioritize that. And so and I was like, of course. So, she respects me and trusts me, and vice versa. So, and that's Josephine from Creations Talent Agency. So she's wonderful. So that I've got that, and I get, honestly, I don't get that much stuff, like a few commercials. I had a few interesting auditions for a couple of TV shows, but yeah, otherwise I hustle. I check Star Now every day. Mm-hmm. I check The Right Fit every day. I check, there's a few groups on Facebook, like casting groups. I just scroll through them, see if anything pops out. I try to go to a lot of events, like screenings, plays, network.
Yeah, I know. I know, because I messaged you. Oh, you're there. I should have been there.
Yeah,
are you a member? I'm like, no, I'm not a member. Then become a member.
Yes, actor. I recommend people should sign up to be an actor member, because you get access to really cool events. Like the other night, I just went to the binge screening of the first episode of House of the Dragon.
Oh, cool.
And it was really cool. Some of the actors were there, like Ryan Kaur, and, some of you, like, little B, C grade Aussie celebs. And, it was fun. You got some free drinks and popcorn, and you got to see the first episode. Like, it was awesome, and if I hadn't been a member, I wouldn't have been able to go. So, but yeah, so I do that, and I try to get out and support other people. So if they've got a play or a screening or a whatever, even, table read for people, or what, just because you never know when that little magic moment in someone's mind's going to go, huh, she would suit that character, So just being there and letting, like, I'm not in a malicious way, not in like a,
not in a narcissistic.
No, you're not in a narcissistic way. Like I'm only doing this to get something kind of way. But just like, I'm going to just put my energy out there and see if anyone bounces back.
Look, I do not get that from you at all. And I do not. And that's what I'm saying. A non-creepish way been like following you. And I've been discussing with, and I'm like, this, like, you just turn up, and that's what I think we all need to do, is that we need to go to different plays, different shows, and like talk to people, connect people, see if you want something, like if you can help out, you can help us out, whatever. But that's how we can grow the community, is to turn up to these type of events.
Exactly.
So
it's all about, like, I believe very strongly, and like I just completed my yoga training, so I'm like extra like into it now. But I believe in that like exchange of energy. Even right now, us being here, we're exchanging energy, with one another, and that leaves imprints on people. And so whether it's, even if it's just meeting up with a friend, a creative friend who's is working on a script, and just being like, how's it going? You want to have a coffee and chat about it. Even if it's not even that there's no roles in that script you would ever be suitable for, but it's not about that. It's just about like just supporting each other. Why not? Because we love this, right?
Yeah,
we love it. I just want to be around it all the time.
And you giving that energy to other people, again, even if it was, for example, for a script that you weren't suitable for any of those roles, the fact is that energy comes back to you eventually. They might see you for another project, or they might even not see you for another project. It's just like the good vibes, and contributing to somebody else's artistic practice through that. I think is really positive.
Yeah,
I'm wondering, because you work so hard, what is your goal? Like, what are you going for? Or is it more of an energy thing of like, I'm working hard to kind of give back energy to the community and receiving some in turn? Yeah,
that's a really good question, because I used to, I guess 4 or 5 years ago when I started acting, I did start out with like, the goals, like, I want to be in Hollywood and I want to be a famous actress. And like, don't get me wrong, like those things would be awesome. But I think I've realized more as I go along, and I guess I am have become more spiritual, you know, with my yoga practice and stuff, I've kind of realized I'm not trying to get to anywhere. I'm already there. I'm already doing it. I'm not working in an office anymore because that used to crush my soul.
Yeah.
Every day I get to go, well, not every day, but for work, I get to go and do like crazy, fun, weird things and people pay me for it. And I'm just like, how is this my job? And then I just think, well, I'm already there. I'm already doing it. Like I've already got my Sunday and anything else is a cherry on top, you know? And I think that's really, when you realize like, you're not trying to get to somewhere and you're already there, it's almost like paradoxically things open up for you. Like, does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. But don't get me wrong. Sometimes I do obviously get in those head mindsets where I'm like, oh, I don't know what to do. Where am I going? What's the point of my life? You know, so it's not all sunshine and roses.
Yeah. we had a guest on last weekend and he's a filmmaker and we're talking about using your head, using your brain and your heart at the balanced level. And like you can't use too much of your heart because then you won't be getting jobs, and then you can't use too much of your brain because then you just burn out and you leave your soul behind and you'd be crushed. So you'd be trying to find that medium balance between those two places.
Yeah, that's really well put.
And I was all heart for a very long time, and I think sometimes I feel like I still am, but I need to use that brain part of me and say, hey, wait a minute, I also need to sell some things, you know, meaning I need to also be getting some money here and there, you know, so I can continue on this credit. Because how the hell am I going to like have enough money to put this podcast on, for example, or get people on or pay rent and all that kind of things. All those things are those things that fit into the whole Maslow hierarchy of needs that you needed until we become creative, you know? We need that stuff at times, you know?
Yes, you got to have because I know what you mean. It's like, even if like I've got a self-tape to record, but like I'm hungry and the kitchen is a mess and, you know, I've got like things I have to pay, like errands. I'm like, I can't even think about, you know, jumping in front and like crying over my dead husband because I'm like, I can't get in that headspace. I've got all this shit to do. So it's, you do have to like fulfill those things before you can kind of allow yourself to be creative, or at least I do anyway.
Because sometimes we do hang on to this thing of our courage of like, yes, we're going to be there. Because like I didn't have this thing years ago. This is the first time in like 10 years that I've had something like this, you know. And I lived in a small box house, like didn't have a window, and like in Glebe, like it was really horrible.
This is beautiful.
This is much better, right? And I'm a bit more comfortable, but I wasn't aiming for this, you know. And I still have that mentality of like, I'm still living in a box, what that means I still have to continue to hustle. And even simple things like, for example, like the backdrop here we got here, and like we didn't buy that. It was like on the street.
Really?
It was on the street.
I love that.
So my partner and I were looking for like a backdrop to do our self tapes and whatnot. And she's like, oh, we got to buy something. And I'm like, babe, something will come.
The universe provided.
And one time we went for a walk, and it was like a rainy sort of day, and we found this on the street. And we picked it up, took it home, cleaned it, perfect. And we've been using it like all the time. So like little things like that, you know.
And I found that when those little things happen, it's like it's just a reminder that you are supposed to be on this particular path. Because like I get that too. I'm like, oh, maybe I should just quit acting and go back to graphic design. I'd make more money. It's more stable. But then I don't know, something will happen. Like I'll get a message from a friend going, oh, I saw you in the short film. Like I really enjoyed it. And then I'm like, oh no, okay, no. Okay, I'll keep going. You know. So it's like seems to keep pushing me back.
Yeah. I wanted to ask in line with that, what motivates you? Like what keeps you going? Those little things, you know, that come back, I guess. Yeah,
definitely. And like, I just remembering, you know, through my 20s, I worked in an office and I was very unhappy. I think we spoke about this last time. I can't remember.
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
But just remembering like how unhappy I was, and like, I think I've always been a very creative person, like even since a kid. And I just knew that I just always had this thing inside of me. I was like, I'm not supposed to be in this office. I'm not supposed to be doing this. I didn't know I was into acting at that stage. And every time I start to doubt this, I just think, well, do you really want to go back to that 9 to 5 office grind? Like you know that you don't do well there. So it's like exchanging one set of problems for another set of problems.
Right.
So I'd rather have the problems of, oh, how will I get an audition? Oh, did they like my self-tape? Oh, I'd rather have those problems than like, emails and team meetings and bosses and performance reviews and KPIs. Like I don't want that. So honestly, that's my motivation, is like never to be in an office again.
Great.
Unless I'm acting in an office.
Unless you're acting in an office, yeah. That's pretty good motivation.
Yeah.
And because you said you started acting 5-6 years ago, and coming off that, I wanted to ask that what are the things that you felt that was helpful, and what are the things you said to yourself, well, you know what, there's probably no need. I shouldn't have done that. Like for example, like the class that you did, or did I really need to do that many classes, or was there certain things that you felt like, like Bruce Lee says that, you take things that work and disregard things that don't work and customize it towards yourself, right? So is there something you did like that? Or?
Absolutely. Yeah. That's really well put. I definitely have done that and do that. When I started out, I'd already been doing modeling for a few years. So in terms of having a camera on me, I was very comfortable in front of the camera. So that was one thing, like I say, I sort of had a head start on, I suppose. But I never had spoken on camera, so that was a new thing. So I did start out going to a few little local classes, like I don't think it's around anymore, but there was Scene on Screen, run by Maha Wilson at the time. So that was some of the first classes that I went to. Excuse me. And that was really good. I just learnt, like, I had never held a script before. I'd never analysed the script. I didn't. So those things were good to learn. Like I learnt them in her classes. I learnt. I also did some at Sydney Actors Collective with, I think it's Socrates Otto, I think is the teacher, and Eden Folks. So I learnt stuff there, and then I just kind of was like, well, why don't you just start auditioning and just see what happens? Because a model casting is, in some ways similar to an acting audition. So I was familiar with that idea of going into a room and being judged. So I was kind of already okay with that. And I think I was just also at a time in my life where I'm like, I'm just got to just like, whatever. If they want to think I'm shit, then let them think I'm shit. I can't be bothered. Like I'm so sick of doubting myself. So I'm just going to go have a go. And so, and then as I went along and I was actually booking work, sometimes I would go to classes and I found that they would kind of make me feel more self-conscious or more doubtful. So I have like a love-hate relationship with classes. I think if you find the right group, the right teacher that really like builds you up and doesn't feel, I think it's, of course you have to be critiqued and you have to be given feedback, of course. It's got to be done in a way that it doesn't tear down like your inner self-belief, because once that starts to go, it's so hard to do what we do, So classes, like for example, I thought, as I suppose many actors do when they start out, I better study at NIDA because NIDA is like the best place to study. That's where all the proper actors go. So I signed up for like a 12-month course at NIDA. I did the first term. And by the end of the first term, I felt like, just not because I hadn't learned stuff, I'd learnt stuff, but just because of there's so much critique and feedback and correction and guidance and advice. I was just like, I can't do it anymore. I don't know if I'm not a good actor. No, I can't do it. And I was like, Amelia, you were doing it before you came here. So I actually I dropped out of
was that the studio course?
Yes. Yeah. So I dropped out of it because I was like, this is making me full of neuroses. This is not what I want.
Wow.
Other people went on and they loved it, and so I think it just comes down to knowing you and knowing like if you feel that it's helping you or not. So at the moment I'm like in a no class thing, but I don't know, I might go to some, I don't know.
Yeah. Have there been, I mean, not to put you on the spot, but have there been like particular teachers in the past that you were like, maybe you don't have to name names unless you want to, but were there particular teachers in the past that you were like, I really vibe with this teacher?
I mean, there's been a lot of teachers. Like even when I was doing the stuff at NIDA, there was the teacher, Robert Khan, I think that's how you say it. He was a lovely teacher, like very open, and had that style of being able to give you feedback without making you feel like, you know, an idiot or inferior or like, oh, how could you have done that? Why did you make that choice? Wow, terrible. Like he wasn't like that at all. It's like really warm and just like, okay, yeah, interesting. So, so maybe like let's try it like this. And it was more like this collaborative kind of feel, like where you're like sort of building the scene together. So I really liked working with him. And I don't know, but I think mostly for me, my biggest teachers are just kind of like being with the other actor I'm working with. I think like that's a teaching in itself, because every person you work with is going to be different. So yeah, I try, like when I'm on the job, I try to, like that's also kind of learning as well. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, absolutely.
I had a traumatic sort of experience at an acting class years and years ago.
Really?
Yeah. So I turned up to the class and I wasn't there the week before because I don't know what happened, but they were all given the script to play to research, right? Anyway, so we on the day when I turned up to class, the teacher said we're going to do a read through of it. Now I'm used to read through as well. We sit around and we read. We're just going to read through it, right? I thought that's what we were going to do, right? And now the other thing is I got dyslexia, so I'm awful with cold reads. I'm awful, right? So he just had given it to me, and I hadn't even had a chance to highlight it so I could see it properly and whatnot, you know. So we sat around and we started reading it, and we all were given characters. And there was one, and I was doing okay, and there was one word that I didn't quite know or understand, and the teacher at the time, I'll say his name. Let me say his name, because I like him. Right? His name is Kevin Jackson.
I knew it. I knew it.
I've heard his name come up before.
I was gonna guess. I was gonna guess, and I was gonna be like, I was just about to ask, are we naming this teacher? Because I was about to guess, because I knew
Do we
it.
need to beep it out? Like
No, because the great part is the cage actually likes you. So
I like the way he teaches, though. That's the thing.
Yeah.
I like the way he teaches. Anyway, but him and I sort of had met before when I was at theatre school, and he had directed me in a few scenes, whatnot, and really, really enjoyed the way he did it. You know, he showed me some stuff. But a lot of people in the class did not know that I did know him, right? Especially one actor. I forgot her name, but she decided, and I missed the word, and he had a bit of a go at me, right? And the way he has a go at you is not to... you can take it but either way. The way that maybe you want to think that he's having an actual go at personally, or saying, hey, focus more. To me, he was saying, focus more.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And I understood that. And he sort of had to go with me about that. But also because at the time, he was going through some issues at the time with medical issues. So he probably couldn't remember a lot of the things. So he probably forgot that I wasn't given the script, right? Which was okay with that, right? Then we got through the class, and then we had a little bit of a break, and the actor I was doing the thing where she walked outside and she had a go at me. Yeah, you should know better, and you know, if you don't come to class and blah blah blah, and I was like, hold the fuck up, sorry, like hold up, you know, whoa. I know Kevin Jackson. He knows me. Yeah. Like we have, like we know each other.
How funny.
And he wasn't, and I understand how he was having to go. And she was full. I'm like, well, you know, I don't want to work with you, man. You know, this is so crap. Because we got to work, we got to rock up to class and work with each other as actors, not put each other down that way.
Exactly.
You know?
You need to support each other.
Yeah. There was like no support. I'm like, well, whatever.
Because you're like that's the one thing, like it's so like I did some classes at AMAW which I really enjoyed, and I wish I could remember the teacher's name. He's so lovely.
Joe.
No.
Georgie. Because they're all my teachers.
No. I'll try and remember it. But anyway, he was a beautiful guy. But yeah, just, you know, everyone's getting up there, putting their little hearts out there. You got to be supportive to each other, you know? Like it's just, otherwise... Yeah, like why are we doing this?
I like that place too.
Yeah.
I went there. Yeah. I really enjoy that.
What does AMAW stand for?
Always Something.
I'll look it up.
Acting. I don't know.
No, I've never heard of it. Where is it? Or
It's in Paddington Town Hall.
oh, okay.
Yeah, under there.
yeah.
And it was where Cobb Studios used to be. I don't know if you know that.
Cobb Studios. No.
And and they do their thing is like cold reads.
Anthony Mandel's
That's
Actors
it.
Workshop.
That's the one.
And it's not in Paddington anymore. It's been moved. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Where is it? Do you know? Where
It's in Chippendale now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, their thing is like very much the cold read thing. So you get given a script and they like you to keep it in hand and kind of work that way. So
Oh yeah, I heard some people who are doing that. Yeah. So you found it helpful?
Oh yeah.
I enjoyed the classes because I liked the people, but I found having the script in my hand limiting because all I could be thinking is, but if I'm on an actual job, I can't have the script in my hand.
Right.
And I always like to be as much as close to a real life event as possible.
Right.
So for me, the paper was, I didn't like it.
What's the purpose of having the paper in your hand and doing cold reads?
Did they ever tell you?
Okay, so I'll tell you why I like it.
Yeah.
What that mean?
That's
No. So the reason I really enjoyed it is because I'm one of those type of actors that need the script, and I will go through the script and make all these decisions and whatever, yada yada yada. But at the same time, doing this course, doing the thing, is that you get a script and you try to connect straight away with the other actor.
That's right.
It's about connecting, and really connecting.
Yeah.
The script's very important, of course. We all acknowledge the fact that it's important, but you got to connect first, right?
Yes.
And what they teach is about that.
Right.
Yeah, and I think that's why they
yeah.
encourage script in hand so that you weren't worried so much about, what's my line, but you could really just be focused on each other.
Yeah.
Right.
Of course, like they already tell you, like if you like, of course, during the you got to get rid of the script.
Yeah.
But
no scripts on the night.
no scripts yet. But for me, because I have had a lot of issues with cold reading, I thought one of the things I would do is this course, and it's helped out quite a bit. Now that I got self tapes. It's great. Like I'll run it through with whoever and as a cold read, and then you find things just connecting. You know?
Yes. Yeah. Not without that, like, what's the next line? What's the next line?
Yeah.
So like it is good. And I really liked the vibe and the people and the style.
people are great.
But also then it just gets expensive with
Right,
classes
of course,
as
of
well.
course.
So you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, did I answer your question? I
Yeah.
feel like we went off
no,
into a tangent.
that's what this whole thing is about. Is about I wanted to learn about something, so we found out about it. But to wrap up, I do want to talk about the web series.
Oh yeah.
So because we talked about it last time, and now you've released the first episode. So how does that feel?
Oh my gosh, it's like, so I actually had the first episode ready for like, oh my God, almost like a month or so. And I kept sort of telling myself, oh yeah, but I just need to tweak that and I just need to tweak that. And then I was like, Amelia, you're just stalling, like just release it because it's scary.
Yes,
you know?
yes.
And so I think I posted it online like just a little under 2 weeks ago, and it's had about, I don't know, 1,500 views, which is not like a shitload, but
Great.
like, yeah, people seem to really enjoy it. It was just meant to be a sweet little, fun little thing, lighthearted that you could just watch, kind of let go of your worries for a little bit, and it seems to really have come across. Like people have said it, they thought it was fun, and they called out little moments in it that they thought were funny, and so it's just been like, it's been really lovely, like a crazy experience. But yeah, you do like that like little moment of like uploading and hitting post. It was just like,
Did you check it really like every kind of couple of seconds, like when you first posted it? Yeah.
Refresh.
Yeah, and I'm like waiting for like this is shit.
Yeah.
Why would you make this? You suck. But no, everything's been really positive, and so I'm really encouraged by that, and it kind of makes all the hard work just seem really worth it. So so I'm excited to release the next episode, because there's 5 episodes. So I'll release the second one probably next week. It's been like really nicely, like nice feedback, like especially about like my actors as well. Like everyone's really complimented their performances and stuff like that, which is really nice to hear. And I just think, now I'm like, okay, now I want to make something else. I make something better.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
So I wanted to ask, what did you learn?
Like I just learnt, yeah, I mean, I think just I always had a strong idea from the very beginning. I knew exactly what it should look like and sound like and everything. So that like having a really clear vision in mind, like a really clear. It's not so much even like a story you want to tell, but like what's the feeling you want, again, energy, what's the feeling you want to leave with the viewer? So I definitely learned that like that was a good tick thing for me. I had that coming in from the beginning. But one thing I also learned is like money helps. So having more money would be good. Maybe a little bit of a bigger crew just to have people, you know, actually have someone for lights, actually have someone for sound, because we were sort of all double handling different jobs. But I think I just learned that I can do it, and if that, you know, not too bad for my first go at it. Hopefully it can only get better. Yeah. Hopefully.
Yeah, wonderful.
Yeah.
Just follow on to that as well. When you do write and when you do direct, when you say you want to continue on, do you do logline first, or do you think of a subject matter, or do you think of
or a synopsis?
Yes, synopsis. What do you
scene breakdown?
Yeah.
I think I get like little scenes in my head. Like I see them happening, and then I just write the scene down. Like it's usually like characters interacting or actions that the character is taking, and I don't necessarily know what's happened before that scene or after that scene. But if I do get like a flash of inspiration, I write that scene down, and then from there you could be like, oh well, maybe this happened before, and maybe that happened after, and then kind of piece in that way. So I think it's very visual. Like I start seeing it in my head, and I'm like, I need to write this down before I forget it, kind of thing. But I don't write a lot, so I couldn't, you know, that's what happened with Roller Coaster Testers. It all kind of, you know, when they say like it came to me, it kind of did. But I wouldn't call myself like a regular writer, so I don't know. It's been dead in there for a while.
Well, I mean, look, I would say a writer is somebody who writes something and it gets produced. You're a writer.
All right,
you know, there's a lot of people out there who's like, I'm a writer, and they've got like 50 drafts that like have never seen the light of day of anyone, and you know, it's like, no. I think if you've produced something, you're a writer.
And I think it leaned into that the acting skill too of like, how would this feel, and what would they say, and even though they're saying this, what do they actually mean, and so that stuff helps as well.
Because everyone has different sort of stimulus to their stories, you know, or how they would write something, you know. So I always thought about that, because sometimes I have written something that that'd be a great scene, a great idea, and I started writing it, and then I go, wait a minute, I'm lost now. Then I did another time. I wrote something, and I did a log line first, or like a goal, and then I sort of, okay, that's a good one. That means I can always try and achieve that goal with all the lines that I say for the characters, you know, whatever, you know. So that's why I'm asking, because a lot of people do it different ways, you know?
Well, one thing I did this is way back, I did a creative writing course at this really great place, the Writers Studio.
I
think it's in Bondi.
It's in Bondi,
And so one of the interesting things I learned there was like which I really took away from it is like, it's almost like you don't want to know your own story, you want to let it surprise you. Like if your characters are living and breathing in your mind, and you know, you kind of get like an idea like, oh, maybe a spaceship could land here now. Like, no, it couldn't. A spaceship couldn't land there. It's like, well, why couldn't it? It's my story. Yeah, spaceship lands. Yeah. And then, you know, like obviously that's a ridiculous example, but like that's the whole fun of writing, is you make things happen. It doesn't have to be logical or sensical necessarily. It's like, because that, you know, sometimes in our lives, like my life was ticking along fine, and then John suddenly came to the kitchen screaming in pain, you know, and I was like, what the fuck? And then, you know, so it happens like that. So I try to think about that, I guess. Yeah,
awesome. Well, thanks, Amelia. Thanks so much. They're wonderful to catch up again after before.
Yeah, it's really nice. Thank
guess
you.
we'll see you
in another year. Maybe a bit sooner.
I'll look, come on whenever you want to come. Look, this is the community that we want to sort of build on for Chookas. So if you, I told my other guests, if you want to come on, and if you want to interview someone you feel like a vibe with you or something,
I can refer people to you.
Yeah, just come on and we'll have a chat and just share the experiences with everyone. It'd be good.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
Cool. Thanks, everyone. Tune in next week.
Yep. Thank you so much, everyone. Take care and see you soon.
Bye-bye.
Bye.